Good morning, students. Sairam. Now, today we'll be learning political science. In our previous lesson in political science, we have learned about the foreign policy and the requirements, the importance of foreign policy. As we have seen that each and every nation is dependent on one another. So, as a result, there is a need to frame foreign policy accordingly in order to in order to satisfy the needs of each other. So as we are having good relations, in order to maintain good relations with other nations, there should be proper coordination and cooperation amongst the nation in order to maintain world peace. Accordingly, we also need to maintain to protect the security of our nation. And as a result, we need to have a good military system, defense system. Okay, so today we are going to learn the lesson number 3 of political science, India's defense system. So this is the part 1 of lesson number 3. We'll learn about the working of India's defense system today. Now, as we have learned about the foreign policy that is framed by different countries according to the needs and requirements of the nation. So, just let's have an introduction about the defense system. So, where the main primary interest of a country, what does it includes? So, it includes defense from foreign aggression. So, in order to protect the country, to maintain the security of the country, we need a good defense system. Then internal unrest. Also, if there are disputes within the country, there also a balance need to be maintained, and also to keep the borders of the country safe. So the main national interest of all the country is to protect the country from all the foreign attacks, then any internal disputes within the country, and also to keep the borders safe. Now, for this, every nation creates a defense system. That means the country needs to be militarily strong, and so a defense system is created by all the countries. In this way, we see that as every nation maintains its own defense system, it maintains it at national level. And accordingly, India also created such a system. So, we shall learn about this system in detail. Now, as we said that we need to maintain security of our country to protect the country. So, what is national security? The international system is made up of sovereign nations. So, as we said that India is a democratic country, a sovereign state, accordingly, the international system, it consists of the sovereign nations. Now, as we have seen that each nation is dependent on one another, even if they cooperate with each other, sometimes there are conflicts between these sovereign nations also. So it happens, right, at regular basis also, in our families also, or amongst your friends also, we experience this. No matter how good relations we have, but some or the other matters it happens, so that there are minor disputes between us. So in the same way, as so many nations are interrelated into the international system, they cooperate with each other, but at the same time there are conflicts between the sovereign nations. There are disputes between nations over boundaries or water sharing. So on what issues will there be disputes amongst the nation? Maybe related to the boundaries or water sharing. So presently we are also experiencing the disputes between India and China. You must all be listening to the news, right? So some other reasons are also there for the conflict. Apart from borders and water sharing, there are also other reasons because of which there might be disputes among the country. Which are those? So not following the terms of international treaties. So as we have seen that when foreign policy is made, accordingly we carry out the transactions among the foreign countries. And when these transactions are carried out, there are certain rules and regulations need to be maintained. Various treaties are signed at international level. So we need to follow those terms and conditions. If they are not followed, there is a chance of conflict amongst the nations. constantly competing against each other. So every country wants to be economically strong, militarily strong. So there might be competitions amongst the countries, as we have learned about USA and USSR with related to Cold War, right? Influx of refugees from neighboring countries. So when the refugees migrate from one place to another, so accordingly that may be one reason where there might be disputes among the country. So whenever such a conflict of interest arises between nations, it is sought to be resolved by compromises and discussions. So as our main aim is to maintain national peace and security, when such conflicts arise between the nations, we need to solve it by compromises and discussions instead of having war amongst the countries. So when such efforts are not enough to resolve the conflict, the nation may even think of war. So sometimes it happens so that even after negotiations and mutual conversation amongst the countries, the problems are not solved, and which may in turn result to wars. So, when a nation attacks another nation and challenges the sovereignty of that nation, it endangers the security of nation. So, what happens when a nation attacks another nation and challenges the sovereignty of that particular nation? There are chances wherein the security of the country might be in danger. So, in that case, we need to face such challenges wherein we could be militarily strong. So, such challenges are created due to the military power of aggressive nations. So, why do certain challenges exist? Because maybe the opposite party is militarily strong. So, in that case, we also need to maintain a strong military system wherein we would be able to give a same response to the other country, right? In any situation, a nation's first duty and responsibility is to keep the security system always well prepared and ready. So, as we try to solve whatever matters by means of negotiations and discussions, at the same time, when a country faces such kind of challenges, so during that time, the country should be well prepared for the forthcoming attacks or forthcoming wars, which they might be think that it may harm the security of the country. So in that case, we need to first the nation's first duty is to keep the security system always well prepared and ready. And what is this called as? This is called as a national security, right? So what is national security? When there are any forthcoming chances of war or attack from the other foreign nations, and at that time a particular country need to be, its first duty is to keep the security system well prepared and ready, and that is called as national security. Okay, so now here we have learned what is national security and how we can maintain. Now, there are certain ways to safeguard national security. Which are those different ways? How can we safeguard? So, national security is closely connected with geography, because national security, it is more likely to be endangered by nations who are geographically closer. So, we see how the national security, it is closely connected with geography. Why? Because we have our neighboring countries wherein we, as I said, we carry out transactions. So there may be certain issues, like we spoke about the border issues or water sharing issues. So because national security, we see, is more likely to be endangered by nations. So where, by whom is the national security endangered? It is endangered by the nations who are geographically closer. So as we had the Kashmir issue, right? So accordingly, it might cause a great harm to the national security of a particular country. So a nation must assess the threat to its geographical boundaries and the source of that threat. So a nation has to see to it that their geographical boundaries are protected and need to take certain measures. Now, in order to keep this threat at bay, the nation has to increase its military might. So, in order to keep this fear, this threat away from our one's own nation, what does the country has to do? The country has to increase its military might, make the country militarily strong. And when can this happen? So the nation has to use a modern technology. As we are westernizing, the main aim of the nation is to make use of this modern technology in order to protect the threat, to build weapon systems, and modernize and update the defense forces. So when we make use of this modern technology, when we are aware of any threat is about to come, so that way the country need to be well prepared and ready and build weapon system. So modernized ammunitions, weapons need to be kept ready and update the defense forces accordingly. So as we are very much used to the satellite world, the world of internet, accordingly we have the crimes also can be overcome with the help of this. Resolving conflicts by taking recourse to war in order to safeguard national security brings internal peace into danger. So, when we try to resolve the conflicts by means of war, automatically the security of a country is in danger. So, we need the peace of the country is in danger. So, we first most foremost thing we need to is we need to avoid this war, and in case if the other nation comes up with a war attack, then we need to be well prepared that it will not harm the peace of the country. Hence, some nations try to get the support of other nations to manage the threat to their national security. So, in case if we are, the country is not militarily strong or not well equipped arms and ammunitions, in that case, the nation can take the help of other nation, okay, in order to overcome the war crisis, right? So, next we'll see, as we have learned now what is national security, what are the different ways in order to maintain the national security. Let's now study about India's security system. So as we see that India's security system, it includes the army, the navy and the air force. So these are the three forces that defend the country, right? The army, the navy and the air force. Now what is the responsibility of these forces? The responsibility of protecting the geographical boundaries is on the army, whereas the navy protects the coastline. The Air Force is in charge of protecting India's airspace. So each department is given a particular responsibility. So how can the nation's security can be maintained? So the who protects the geographical boundary? The army. And who protects the coastline? The navy. And who protects the airspace? That is the Air Force. Okay, it protects the airspace. So in this way, these three security forces, they protect the security of the country and also try to maintain peace in the country. The Ministry of Defense, it controls all the three forces. Now these three forces, the Army, Navy and the Air Force, they are controlled by the Ministry of Defense controls. Now the Indian Army is very big. It is said to be as the world's 7th largest. Okay, so the Indian Army is very big and it is world's 7th largest. And what is the chief of Indian Army known as? Yes, its chief is known as General. Then the chief of the Navy is known as the Admiral. And the chief of the Air Force is known as Air Chief Marshal. So, we have learnt about the three security systems of India, that is the Army, Navy and the Air Force. We have learned the duties and responsibilities of these three forces and also what are the chiefs of these three forces called as. These three chiefs, who appoints them? These three chiefs are appointed by the president. Okay. Then, further, the President of India is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Force. So, who is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Force? The President of India. The defense forces cannot take any decision about war or peace without the consent of the President, because the latter represents the civil power. So, who takes the decision? It is the President. Without the consent of the President, both the three security forces cannot take any decisions related to war. Okay. So, because the President has that civil power of taking the decisions. In a democracy, leadership is considered superior to military leadership. Okay. So, in a democracy, leadership is considered to be superior to military leadership. Many measures are taken so that all three defense forces in India's security system are adequately modernized. So, accordingly, India takes all the measures in order to modernize with new arms and ammunitions, new technology, new weapons to all the three forces of the country. Then, as we say that leadership of the country is concerned with the military leadership, how far the country is militarily strong. So also, some research institutions have been set up accordingly. Many training institutes have also been set up in our country to train the personnel of all ranks of our defense forces so that they can perform their task competently. So, accordingly, in order to train the army, the navy, and the air force, the training institutes have been set up in a country in order to train the personnel of all ranks of defense forces. So, in order to train all the chiefs of the navy, the military, and also the air force, and also the other soldiers, accordingly, they are being trained in such a way so that they can perform their task competently with the other countries. Now, which are those institutes? For example, the National Defense Academy, that is the NDA at Pune, and the National Defense College, that is NDC at Delhi, etc. So, these are the institutions which trained the military, the navy, and the air force accordingly with various competent measures in order to fight with the other powers. So, children, today we have learnt about India's defense system, wherein we have learnt what is national security and what are the different ways wherein you can maintain national security in the country. Then we have also learnt about India's defense system, where are the three defense powers of India and who is the head of this defense powers and what is the duty or what are the rights the president has, and also how the various institutions which have been set up, they train the three forces in order to complete their task competently. We shall proceed with the next part of our lesson in the next class. Till then, thank you, children.